What's up, fish fam? We got a problem here down in the fish room, and no, it's not with this 180-gallon Ultimate Angel tank. It's not with my 75-gallon breeding rack here either. The issue's here with my 90-gallon mixed reef aquarium. Let me show you exactly what I'm talking about real quick. Ugh. Well then, one hell of a transition there. Anywho, the problem is down here in my sump area. So many of you may or may not know. I'm gonna go ahead and act like you guys don't know. This is my 90-gallon mixed reef tank. It is filtered with a sump, not corner overflow, but back overflow. 29-gallon DIY sump with a sump kit that I got on Amazon. I will try to remember to link the video to the setup of this tank. It's, I believe, 2 or 3 parts, but it'll be down in the description. Anywho, the issue arises with my protein skimmer. I'm having a lot of trouble with this thing. I'm seeming... You know, being that I was born here in New York, in the United States of America, you would think I know how to speak English. The protein skimmer here has been giving me a lot of problems. It's kind of hard to explain, so I'm gonna just bring you guys into the sump and show you exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, so here in the sump, I kind of go over everything. So the tank overflows from the overflow, down this tube, down the hose, into this chamber here, where it all kind of goes through, up, and under this sponge, there are 2 filter socks. You can see all the little creepy crawlies in that little sponge there. Those are all like different types of pods and all the good stuff for a reef aquarium. So very good to have that, but goes through 2 filter socks that have polyfill in them, overflows through, or goes through those filter socks into this chamber here, where I have a lot of live rock and ceramic media for the beneficial bacteria. Overflows, don't mind my dead little digital thermometer thing, needs new batteries, but overflows here into this chamber where I have my protein skimmer on a little riser, my heater, then overflows from there over here to where, don't mind, my water level is a lot higher than it needs to be. I overfilled it and just didn't feel like draining it. But yeah, goes into this chamber here, or through some baffles over here, into this chamber where I have my return pump and some more live rock. Now, this return pump is a J-Bow, I believe it's the MDC 60, yes, right here, okay, yeah, J-Bow MDC 6000, if you can see it there. I did upgrade my pump. I had the J-Bow, I think it was DC 3500 it was, if I'm not mistaken, upgraded to this one. Much better flow. And then it goes pumped up through this UV filter. This is, I believe, Aqualife, I think, if I'm not mistaken. I will try to put the correct name on the screen there. But yeah, through there, then through the hose, back up and to my return pipes right up there. You can see them there. I do want to change those out to some flat ones, but that's neither here nor there. The protein skimmer here, again, it is on a riser, and I have it, again, the water level is higher than normal right now. I don't usually keep it this high. This is usually the maximum, and this is the minimum that I like to keep it at. But when water levels in here are correct, and I run my protein skimmer, I have issues with the bubbles here, and I have messed with this knob, I have messed with this little top here. I, for the life of me, can't seem to figure it out. So I'll get it going, and I'll have the bubbles coming up to maybe like right here-ish or so, and they'll start kind of overflowing into the little cup here, and you can see that it is brown there, which means I've had it running and I got it to work for a little while. But then out of nowhere, the cup will only be maybe like this much full of the nasty crap from inside of the tank. And out of nowhere, it will just start rushing water through the protein skimmer. It will just, the bubbles will go crazy. I don't know. I don't touch anything. I'll go from one day looking at it and it's fine, and legitimately the next morning this thing is overflowing. I got water coming out the top, and this little chamber here is getting full of water. And I don't know why. I can't seem to figure out how to get this thing set up where it runs properly, and I don't have to worry about it starting to overflow when it gets to like this much full of crap. I mean, I feel like it should be able to handle a little bit more than this, being that this is a decent sized protein skimmer for this tank. I mean, it's, what is this? Let's look at the label here. The eShops, Axiom eShops X160. You can kind of see it maybe on the side there. Probably not because I'm an idiot. But yeah, so it's from what I understand, a decent sized protein skimmer for a tank this size. Should be able to do the job right. So I don't know if maybe the risers aren't high enough, or maybe they're too high, or something here is going on. But again, I get it where the bubbles are kind of like right here-ish at this level, and they'll, you know, build and build and build, and they'll come to the top, and they'll eventually obviously make their way into the actual catch container. But like I said, you can see right now, this is full of just tank water. That's because I had it running great, and then out of nowhere, it just decided to start volcanoing itself and went all haywire. So if anybody knows how to get this thing set up properly, is my stand not high enough? Is it too high? I mean, you can kind of see where the water level is at here. Does it have to be at the level of that little ring right there, that little white ring that you can see maybe right there? I'll try to add an arrow in there. Is that where the water level has to be? I don't know. So those that are a little bit more experienced, the reef experts and all the equipment nerds that know the stuff, I don't mean nerd in a derogatory way, I mean it as a compliment, because I am stupid. I don't know what I'm doing with this stuff. So please, if you guys know how on God's green earth I can get this thing set up correctly to run where I don't have to worry about this thing turning into Mount Kilimanjaro or whatever the hell that damn volcano thing is.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Please help your boy out, because I really want to get this thing set up properly, running correctly, pulling out any extra phosphates and all that stuff, because right now the tank is doing good, but some of my corals aren't fully opened because I'm assuming there is some higher phosphate levels in here. Now granted, the tank is due for a water change, but I still want this thing running properly. I want to be able to minimize the amount of water changes, and I have this and I want to use it. So somebody please comment down below and help your boy out. Now that you guys know what my dilemma is down there in my sump area, again, please guys, help me out. I need to get this thing figured out. I don't know what to do, and I'm getting very frustrated with that protein skimmer. I've gotten to I legitimately just turned it off, and it's sitting in there. I don't want to touch it until I can figure out how to get this thing to work properly. So again, if anybody knows how to set up the protein skimmer properly, help me out.
Okay.
The other issue that I'm having with this tank here, this beautiful tank, is that it's too small. Many of you may know that dilemma. This 90 gallon is too small for what I want to do. I need a bigger tank already. So I'm kind of in the market. Maybe. My lady does not know about this, so let's keep this between me and you guys. You know, pinky promise, we don't tell her anything. But I'm in the market for a bigger tank. So, funny story. I used to have a 120 in my garage, along with one of my older 180s, the first 180 that I had that was not drilled or didn't have overflows or anything. I got this 120 for free on Facebook. A guy upgraded his tank to, I think it was like a 300 gallon or something like that. Got rid of the 120, again, completely for free. The tank and the sump. I loaded that thing in the back of my car by myself. Asked me how I lifted a 120 by myself. I couldn't tell you. I think the fish gods were on my side, and they gave me the strength of Poseidon to lift that thing up into the car. Brought it home, had it sitting in the garage, and again, I had it sitting in my garage for months when we first moved into the house. Figured that I wasn't going to be able to use it anywhere. I was like, oh, you know, well, let me sell it, and I sold it for, I did sell it for cheap, but it was the price for 120. It was extremely cheap, and I sold it with the sump, and it was a decent sized sump. Now thinking back on it, I'm kicking myself in the ass because I want my tank back, and I can't. And I actually found the guy that I sold it to. He is now selling it for more than 5 times the price that I sold it to him for. So thanks, Facebook. That being said, though, I do want to, like I mentioned, get a bigger tank, and I'm kind of in the market for maybe another 180. I genuinely love the footprint of a 180. The 4 foot by 2 foot by 2 foot is just incredible. I feel like the tank is these lights, which are the Nicrew Hyper Reef 200s. If anybody's interested, I will have all of their information in the link down below. Nicrew was actually very nice enough to send me both of these lights completely free, and as you can tell, they're growing the corals fantastic. My corals are doing great. Now granted, I don't have anything, at least that I think, that is super duper high end, but I mean, I'm growing LPS, SPS, softies. I've got a torch in there, and that's doing great. I've got some hammers and frog spawns, rainbow bubble tips, GSP, mush, all the good stuff that at least I think is good stuff, and it is growing fantastic. I mean, I want to do a 1 year update compared to when I first set this tank up to a year later, so that'll be coming very soon because this tank is approaching its 1 year life. Crazy to think that this thing isn't even a year old and it already looks like this, so I can't wait to see what it actually looks like within that year. But these lights should be plenty strong to light up 180 gallon. Only thing is, I may need a third one. Right now I have these two kind of illuminating each 2 foot section of this tank. If you don't know, it is a 4 foot tank, I believe by 18 inches front to back. Yes, 18 inches front to back and 2 feet tall. So at least I think those are the correct measurements for it, because it's taller than a 75, and a 75 is 18 inches front to back, but can't remember. Anywho, I will need a third one of these Nicrew Hyper Reef 200s, which again, I mean, I don't mind paying for the third one. Nicrew was gracious enough to send me these two for free. I don't want to, you know, test my luck and seem a little greedy, you know what I mean? So I will pay for a third one if I need to, and I will also pay for the little cable that goes connected from one to another. That way I can link all 3 of them and control them with my Reef controller light that's also from Nicrew. They did not send me that. I bought that from a previous purchase. It was on my Hyper Reef 100, I believe it is. That was on my 20 gallon long, but neither here nor there. I figured I could, again, yes, get the third light, get another light shade here, and these light shades are actually from Printed Reef. Did not get these sent out to me for free. I did purchase these with my own money, but I absolutely love these Reef shades. The light shades, they are really just help. Ooh, they weren't sitting correctly. 1 second, what the hell? There we go. But yeah, these things really do help with just projecting or directing light into the tank and allowing the coral to just get, as I believe, as much light as possible. Now, on my specific setup, I do have glass lids, which is kind of diminishing some of the light that is getting into the tank. I'm thinking about upgrading my glass lids to one of those mesh lids kind of things that I found it on Amazon. You kind of like tape it along the rim of the tank and just you basically make a lid to fit your tank. Only problem that I see with that is the, what's the word called? Evaporation. There we go. I studied in school. The evaporation. That's the only thing that I'm kind of concerned about with that style of lid, but it will allow for the light to really penetrate a lot better and have my corals grow better, which would be very beneficial. So yes, I am on the hunt for a bigger tank for my Reef. And it's crazy to think that I'm saying that, because I thought that this 90 gallon would have been perfect and be the one all, you know, tank that I would need. MTS, am I right? Or in this case, BTS, bigger tank syndrome, because I like my big tanks. They're easier to maintain. You can keep a lot more fish or bigger fish. That's kind of a reason why I want a bigger tank, because I do want some larger fish. I would like to get myself a hippo tang and a fox-face rabbit fish, and possibly even a yellow tang. I mean, I all of my Reef videos, I talk about how I love my yellow fish, and there's not a single one in here still. So we're gonna change that very soon. But yeah, I do want some bigger fish, and I want to redo this rockscape as well. Don't get me wrong, I do love what I've got going on here. It's very natural, but I do want to have something that has a little bit more like open pass-throughs and stuff like that, and just a little bit better placement for certain corals, and I can kind of start putting corals in specific locations, kind of making, you know, little specific gardens for each type of coral that I have in this tank. And I'm actually going to go ahead and give you a closer look on the corals, because I did change some things up in here, and actually epoxy and glued most of my corals to the rock structure. So let me go ahead and get you a little closer and show you each coral that's in this tank. Now, it may be a little bit long of a video, I'm sorry, but there's a decent amount of corals in here, and I think they are doing very, very well. Let me know what you guys think, but let's get a little closer. And as you've seen before, my pink bubble's doing great. The bird's nest is doing great. My two Duncan colonies, great. Green bubble tip doing great. But another one here is this mushroom is doing amazing. I started off with two, I guess, what did you call them, heads of the mushrooms? Two plants? Two stems? Two somethings. I started with two pieces, and now I counted them at night when they kind of shrivel up and they're not all nice and pretty and open. I think I have maybe like 8 or 9 of them on there. So these guys are doing great. This hammer, this yellow hammer here, or gold, is it yellow or gold? I can't remember. This color hammer here, I got it with 2 heads, and again, I went counting them at night when they're closed up. I think I'm close to like 12 to 14 heads on it now. So it is a very big, I mean, right now, it's the size of my fist. You can't really tell because, you know, I'm a lot further away from it, but this hammer is doing fantastic here. Down here, these red mushrooms going absolute gangbusters. I have some here on this section. I have a little bit more here, and then I actually have even more right in there. Let's see if I can zoom in on it. Right there, you kind of see them poking out there where the 6 line was right there. You see them there? Yeah, even more of them there. So very clearly, red mushrooms doing great. What else we got in here? My pink Ghani here, let's see, right there. My pink Ghani wasn't doing the greatest. She is bouncing back now. That was my own fault. She kind of started dying off when I was having that issue with the fish rack, with the disease that killed my plecos. I neglected this tank, and my green Ghani unfortunately did, as well as right here, this empty frag plug. That was my firework clove polyp. That one didn't make it either, unfortunately. So pink Ghani's still doing great, which is good for me because I love this little pink Ghani. I'm hoping she continues to grow. My torch here, this torch I also got at Reef in USA along with the pink Ghani, doing fantastic. You can see how well the polyps are extended and stuff like that. I've got here my 5 rock flower anemones, crushing it. These guys love this little corner, and they really don't move from here. They kind of found their little safe haven here, and they like it, and I'm fine with that. But I want a bigger tank so I can have more of them and give these guys a little bit more space, and maybe even place them on the rocks themselves so I can actually see them a little bit better. I.e. this one right here. This one's just showing me its backside, and that's rude as hell. This guy here, don't know what kind of coral that is, also doing really well. Has I see it, you know, growing and attaching itself to my rock structure. You can kind of see right there, its little arm kind of extending. I can't even zoom anymore, but right there, I'll put an arrow extending there. I have since glued these 2 little frags here, bada bing and bada boom, to the rock there. This little red piece here is a piece of Firestarter Monty, or somebody tell me, is Firestarter Monty and Setosa the same thing? Because I can't tell the difference, but that's one of the 2. You can see right there the hammer that I have back there. You see my big old head in the reflection. Lord have mercy. Let me stand up. There we go. That green hammer with like the purple tips kind of looking deal. Doing great. Bought that with like 1 or 2 heads, and it now has, I think, like 5 or 6. 1 and 2 rainbow bubble tip anemones. I originally started with 1, and she split, and these are the 2 of that split. Green star polyp up here, doing really well, covering the rocks a lot better now. As you can see, it is extended now. So I'm guessing that maybe it just needed to get used to my tank and the water or something. I'm not too sure, but she's doing great and I love it. So I'm hoping to have the overflow. I mean, the original plan was to have the entire overflow covered in GSP, but if I get a bigger tank, that's gonna change very obviously. So we'll see how that goes. I don't mind having to start the GSP over again, but who knows? Over here, you can see some of my zoas, they are closed up, which is why I feel like the phosphates are getting a little too high. Either that or maybe my emerald crabs or my hermit crabs that I have in here have been kind of crawling all over them and harassing them, but there's a few of them. Like you can see these two here kind of closed up, that one's a little closed up, and this one has some heads that are closed up. So I want to do a water change on this to kind of bring the phosphates down and stuff. But yeah, I have all those different types of zoas there. Here's another frag of that. It's either Setosa or Firestarter Monty. Another one of those Setosa or Firestarter Monty. I think this is the Firestarter Monty, if I'm not mistaken. Here, some of the newest additions actually, before the new additions, I have this other Zoa down here, as well as right there. If you couldn't tell, I like my Zoas and I like my mushrooms, because right here is a jawbreaker mushroom that I got, along with a joker mushroom. I got these two from the same guy. It was a guy on Facebook. If I remember his name, I will plug that on the screen somewhere. But I got these two frags. He gave me a larger piece of the joker mushroom and a smaller piece of the jawbreaker mushroom, which is fine because it will grow eventually. But this guy right here looks fantastic when the blue lights are hitting and you got the glasses on. And that thing stands out like a sore thumb and I love it. It looks so good. More GSP there. This is either a Zoa, a larger Zoa, or some type of pally. I don't know. There's more red mushrooms. The green pallies, if you can't tell, doing great. When I first set this tank up, I had I think like 5 heads and there's like 500 now. So the green pallies are doing really well. Right next door is another rainbow bubble tip anemone that I got. So this one I actually got also at Reefing USA from Leanne. She is a good friend of mine. You guys may know her on Instagram. I will have her Instagram right there on the screen. She gave me this rainbow bubble tip completely for free. Very nice of her. And this little guy's doing great. Hasn't really stung the pallies. You can see they're kind of touching, so I don't know what's going on there. It seemed like the pallies are kind of bullying it because it originally was right there, and she hid back there, and now she's poking a little head out there, so I don't know. I have another type of pally here. You see this one here, and then this one, they're the same type. There's a little emerald crab underneath those pallies. You see my little emerald crab growing with that. I love emerald crabs. I have another one right there under that little shelf you see. But yeah, these two pallies, or this one pally that I have in 2 separate sections, I'm hoping that it will continue to grow. I want this rock to become like a pally rock because, boom, another pally there. There's a little GSP growing in there, but another type of pally. You can see these two are similar but different. Yeah. Over here, this is my mushroom rock. This rock I actually got from a trade. I traded, it was this entire rock with 3 different type of mushrooms on it for a single 20-gallon long, which I felt was a great deal for the amount of mushrooms that I got. I mean, obviously it has grown since, but these guys look great too. My favorite are the bluish ones right there. Those guys look fantastic with the blue lights and the glasses. They just really pop. And I think this is the same type of mushroom that I have over there. I didn't know that at the time, but now looking at it a little closer and looking at like the, I guess the fleshier part, like the inside, the green part, looks the same, but it's okay. I've got this guy here. It looks like a reddishy purple with blue speckles, really pretty. And then again, my favorite, the blue one right there, the bluish green, absolutely glows with the blue light. On this side, more pallies. You can see right there, bada bing, another one, bada boom. Up here on this little shelf right there, that is some type of, get out the way. That is some type of encrusting Monty. Don't know what type it is. I got it over at one of the local fish stores here, Jaws Aquarium in Elmsford, New York. I didn't know what it was. I just bought it before I really knew what I was kind of doing. And it's growing well. You can see it is encrusting on that shelf, so I'm excited to see it kind of take over this whole little shelf. I do want to glue this shelf. Let me move to the front of the tank again. You can see that the shelf rock here has like this little lip right there. I want to glue that a little bit further out and make it like almost like kind of in Lion King, how it has the little pride rock type of deal. I want to do something like that here, but right now this little piece of rock is just holding it up. I do have the coral glue stuff thing or whatever, the epoxy blah de blah. I just haven't gotten to do it yet, but we're gonna do it. More fire starter Monty, and then I forget what this guy here is called. It's green and it is growing well. It's doing great. But I mean, this bird's nest is what I love. The bird's nest. You can kind of see all the little movement from the little polyps, and this thing is doing fantastic. Now on to my little frag rack in the back. I am moving away from kind of using the frag racks, only because I like having my corals on the rock, and I got bubble algae on that frag rack, and I, for the life of me, couldn't get it away. The emerald crabs are obviously in here, and they do great at controlling the bubble algae all over here, but up there, not so much. Thankfully, one of them did find its way up there and spent a little while up there and just went to town, so now we're bubble algae free on there, but I think I don't know. I'm still hesitant on what I want to do with it, but you can see on there, I do have some zoas growing on there. There were this little one right there, where that frag hole is, was actually this frag plug here of zoas. It was growing and spreading onto the rock. I do have another frag of zoas on there still. I need to take that off and find a home for it somewhere. I'm thinking maybe putting it like right there. That way I can have kind of different zoas growing all throughout there, but I'm not too sure yet. And then that will obviously leave up here, dumbass, some of the polyps on the rock. And if this rock ends up turning into a zoa frag rock, a floating zoa frag rock, I don't care, because it'll be cool to have all different types of zoas on there, different colors, and I feel like it would look cool. I also have right there, this guy, the taller one, the branchy one. That is an orange digi that is not growing. I don't think it's dead because it's not bleached, but it's not thriving either. I don't know why. I mean, I see the little orange speckles on it for what I'm assuming would be the polyps, but they're not super extended, and I don't know why. Maybe just it doesn't like my tank. And then there's that guy there on the left, and the one to the right of that. I got those at Aquashella last year. Aquashella's coming up. Excited to do another video there. And they're doing really well. They've got new heads growing. I think there may be a type of blasto, I'm not too sure. But those two need to find homes as well as the orange digi. I kind of want to put the orange digi maybe like right there, so I can keep my SPS corals right here, like the more branchy looking stuff. And then the two possible blastos, correct me if I'm wrong, maybe put one right there and another one right there, because I very clearly have space. But again, that may all change if I do a bigger tank. And then you can kind of see in the back behind the maybe blasto on the right, that orangey kind of piece, that coral frag came from my local fish store here that's like 5 minutes from my house. He had it in there and it was covered in bubble algae. It wasn't doing great. He had emerald crabs in the tank and they were kind of, you know, doing some work to it, but he owns a fish store, so it obviously wasn't able to completely just focus on just his reef tank. So he gave it to me for free. I will be fully transparent. I didn't think it was going to survive, but it's doing pretty good. And I promised him that if I can get it to grow, that I will give him a piece back, or I will have him come to my house and frag a piece, and he can have it. I don't care. I give it to him for free, just like he gave it to me for free. So obviously only fair. That little frag also needs to find a home, but I've been hesitant because if I do redo this tank to a much larger setup, I don't want to kind of upset the balance of the tank. Granted, I'm going to do that anyway when I upgrade the tank. That's going to be a huge project, but yeah, so long wind. You see all of my corals are thriving because of these two Night Crew lights, Hyper Reef 200s. Again, when and if I do upgrade to a 6-foot tank, which is what a 180 is, 6 feet by 2 feet by 2 feet, I'll just get a third one for the second 2-foot section. It will still start right here, right where my stairs are, and extend this way. I will just have to find a new home for my water mixing container. I mean, granted, 2 feet only puts us out to maybe like here, so I could probably pull out this container that's just storage right now, put that there, and yeah, you know what I mean. But yeah, the bubble algae that I mentioned before, I have ADHD, I swear I'm all over the place. But you can see on that wave maker there, the little sponge around it, I've got bubble algae growing on there. So I'm waiting for the emerald crabs to find their way up there. And then there is some right there on the overflow. And now the inside of this overflow, let me see if I can show you guys here. I don't know if you can tell, but it's got like some weird lettuce looking type of deal in there, and I don't know what the hell it is, but it's gross. I pull it out every so often. I mean, I'm assuming it's some type of macroalgae, and it's doing good for the tank, but I just don't like it. It bothers me. Granted, it's in the overflow, so it's not seen, but yeah. Forgot to mention this little zoophrag right here. So this guy is interesting story with this one. I got this one from a buddy of mine, Jason, in the Norwalk Aquarium Society, one of the clubs that I'm in. I got this from him, and it was actually a loose kind of, it wasn't on the frag plug, it was just loose on some gravel. So what I did is I put it on some of the live rock over here. I think it was like maybe over here-ish or so, thinking that it would grow and it would be great. Well, my emerald crabs picked it up and took it somewhere. And for months and months, I did not know where it was. Until in one of the little crevices on like the other side of the tank, I think it was somewhere like around here or something, I had my the coral glasses or whatever you want to call them on, and I saw a little shine of yellowish, greenish, and some purple, and they were these 3 tiny little heads of this zoa. There are 3 heads. It's kind of hard to see that. You can kind of see the 3rd one there. I found it, and I immediately glued the little pieces of gravel that it was onto a plug and put it up here. That way, the emerald crabs could not take it away and hide it from me, because I really do like this guy. I think it's called like something blueberry or something like that. I can't remember, but it is a really pretty zoa, and I do want it to grow. So it's been doing great. The 3 heads have like tripled in size since putting them on this plug. So only a matter of time before it really starts growing heavily on this plug, and then I can move it and attach it to the rock work somewhere over here near the rest of my zoas. And now comes the part where I need some more advice from the experts. Ha ha ha, look at me asking all the experts for advice. Well, I want to ask the people that are experienced in this stuff, if I do upgrade this aquarium, which again, I'm really hoping I can, how should I go about moving everything over? So when I originally set this tank up, you guys may have seen in the setup video that I just used everything basically from all the other saltwater tanks that I had, which was the 20-gallon long and the 32 BioCube, along with some extra sand that I bought and some extra rocks and stuff like that. Granted, I didn't use all of them, but or at least the rocks I didn't use. The sand, I used most of it. I want to do this right this next time coming around, especially since I do have all of these corals in here now. When I set this tank up the first time, I was warned to not reuse old sand because it can bring over a lot of ammonia and nitrates and nitrites and all that nastiness and phosphates and a whole bunch of bad stuff that I don't want in the tank. I went against it. Now, I tested my luck and it went okay, and I am so thankful that it did, because I really could have been turned off completely from the saltwater tank if something were to have crashed, but it didn't. Now that I have all these corals in here, and there is a decent amount of money in corals in here, granted it's not, you know, a $15,000 setup like some people have, which I'm not, you know, knocking it. I would love to have a $15,000 reef tank setup. I just don't have the funds for that. When I do upgrade, when and if I do upgrade, my kind of, what's the word, thinking, my idea, my hypothesis, would it be a hypothesis? Let's just call it a hypothesis for old time's sake. What I would do would be to drain water from this tank, pull all of the coral and rocks that I have, and put them into maybe another tank on the floor or something temporarily, to keep all the good bacteria in the rocks and stuff, because that is, in a saltwater tank, the live rock is what helps keep the tank alive, which is why it's called live rock. Again, from my understanding, I don't know, but that's what I'm assuming. I would put all the live rock into said tank on the floor with the lights, maybe with my filter. I don't know how to run the filter because I don't have a filter that I can just pop off one tank and put on another because this isn't built-in overflow. So that's another problem. But maybe I'll just do water circulation with my wave makers. But I would put everything into said tank, drain this tank down, get everything that I need here in my space ready for a bigger tank, correct? Put the bigger tank in place with my new sump. I don't want to reuse the sand like I did the first time. This sand here is a bit chunkier than what I want. When I was originally setting the tank up, I kind of wanted to do the pink Fiji sand, I think it is, from Carib Sea. I don't remember because it was last year. Couldn't find it, so I just ended up reusing the sand that I had. I don't want this chunkier looking sand anymore. I want a slightly finer sand. I don't want something super fine that will cloud up the tank anytime something gets kicked up, but I do want something a little finer just so it looks cleaner, because right now it kind of does look like I have like a gravel type substrate, and I don't necessarily like that. If you couldn't tell, with all of my freshwater tanks that are in the fish room and upstairs, I have pool filter sand in there, and I like the sand look. Does it get dirtier? Yeah, you see all the poop, but I just like the way it looks. I feel like it looks cleaner. I want that look in my reef tank, and my method, the method to my madness on switching over would be, again, what I said: move the fish, move the rocks, get this tank and get everything here ready for a new tank, and then put in all new sand, which I would do I think it's pink Fiji sand. I would want to do that all on the bottom. And then, if you guys saw, I built a structure out of some extra rock that I had. It is basically dead live rock at the... Wow, that's an oxymoron. Dead live rock. But it is, it was, I guess, dry live rock. That's the term I'm looking for. That I broke up, epoxied, and made a structure. I want to use that structure in the new tank, but still use all of this as well. So I would obviously try to incorporate some of the bigger pieces towards the bottom, put the new structure on top, maybe build little islands here and there, and then on the issue that I'm having is I want to attach 3D printed little coral frag plug little attachment things where the frags can sit in. That way I don't have to attach the actual frags directly to... Don't mind my dog. She's upstairs going nuts. Oh, this YouTube stuff is so fun. But yeah, so I would use those 3D printed little frag plug holders to attach that to the rocks. That way I can pick up frags and move them if I need. Let's say they want more light, less light, more flow, less flow, yada yada yada. I can do that. So that would be my plan there. Some of these are already attached to the rocks, like bird's nest attached to the rocks. A lot of these zoas have grown onto the rocks. Pallies, my pally rock here, cooked. Ain't no getting that apart. So I would still use those in the tank, just towards, you know, the bottom. I get, like I said, as base rocks and stuff like that, or filler rocks, blah blah. But a lot of the corals that I do still have on plugs, i.e. like my hammers, my torches, my ganies, my Duncan isn't on a frag plug, but it is on I guess you could call it a frag, but it's a big old colony at this point. Some of those I can still move around, so I would use those 3D printed plugs to hold said frags of corals and more coral for when I set up the bigger tank, and then I can move them around so that way I can place everything in its own designated area. So that's my plan. Again, experts, does that sound correct? Because once I have obviously new sand, fill with salt water, not entirely, I can start building the new structure. That way I keep my live rock live. I build it in the water using the epoxy and the gel-based super glue, the cyanoacrylate glue, to hold everything together. Because right now, none of this is being held together. All of these rocks are kind of just... Gravity is doing its gravity job. It's holding everything in place. I did have, unfortunately, months and months and months ago, a collapse. Some of the rocks over there collapsed, i.e. the GSP. That thing just crashed. I got lucky it didn't break the tank, but yeah, I would want to epoxy everything together, make sure it's all nice and sturdy. Use new rock, most of my old rock, and then whatever of the old rock I don't use that doesn't have corals on it, I would then, and if it does have coral, I may try to break that piece of the rock off and use it in the tank, and then the rest of the rock keep in the sump at the bottom of the tank to help keep that beneficial bacteria going. Because again, I will be doing a number to the cycle, kind of, because I will be using all new sand. Granted, I believe the pink Fiji sand does have bacteria in it, which would help. And I could also buy bottled bacteria, which I did use to set this tank up the first time, so I could do the same thing. But let me know if you guys think that is the correct method on upgrading my tank. And if you guys have any critiques, please, please, please let me know, because when I do get this new tank, it is going to be a very, very large undertaking, and I don't want to risk losing any of my fish, any of my corals, my cycle. I don't want anything to kind of crash, because that's the C word that no reef keeper wants to hear. Crash. And there we have it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the update on my reef tank and the future plans for my reefing journey. I'm very excited to start looking for a possible 6-foot candidate to replace this 90. Again, experts, comment down below. Let me know what you guys think of my plan for moving this or transferring said tank into a larger tank, and let me know down below on how the hell I get this protein skimmer to work, because if I can't figure it out, it's gonna come out and I'm gonna store it somewhere and let it collect dust. So please let me know how to get that thing running. If you can screenshot a picture of it, or maybe I'll pop a picture up somewhere if I can do that somehow, and just tell me how I can make this thing work properly to make my reefing hobby easier. But if you did enjoy today's video, smash that like button, comment down below, let me know what you think of my tank, and help me with said dilemmas that I have already told you guys. I'm not gonna tell you like a 6th time, but yeah, like the video, comment down below, and subscribe to the channel. Love you guys so much, and I will see ya in the next one.